All right, there we go.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you. I got your recorder. It's recording. It says, yeah. It says 06/06. So it's recording. It's pushed. Okay. All right. Thank you. Not yet. It hasn't. Still says 06. It's recording. Yeah. It's flashing pause at the top. So it's
Already had it recording, sir.
the buttons are going left and right. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Ron. Couldn't be happier. Thank you. Okay, bye. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Roland. Roland is at the hospital with his wife, and they're waiting for a CAT scan, so he's not able to be here. But welcome. Nancy, roll call, please.
Rask,
Here.
Boggs,
Here.
Fleming,
Here.
Rhodes.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Council members, you've had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes when someone is ready.
So moved.
Motion by Chuck, seconded by Dave Rose. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I do not see any correspondence tonight. This is the time of the meeting for general comments, so we welcome those. Go right ahead.
Back again, seeking the council's approval for the Hearts for Addie event. This year would be June 25th. It's a Saturday. Well, for you, those of you who don't know. Mike Nelson, I lost a daughter at 22 days old in 2013. We've had a memorial run every year since, except for one COVID year, did virtually. I believe this is probably going to be our last one for a little while. The theme is see you later, but not goodbye. We're taking a break and maybe have one of my children start it up again at some point. But we're pretty busy these days. Anyway, I would appreciate your approval. The course is remaining the same as it has over the last 2 years. We're going down to Wilson, around the block there, to
O'Brien.
O'Brien. Up Causal Ridge over O'Brien, down Elmwood Road, back down to Wilson. We'll be crossing Lightfoot. But other than that, that's all we're going to use for the city streets.
Okay.
We'll be at 7 a.m. We should be done by 7:20 probably.
Do you need any barricades or anything?
We've done no barricades in the past, right? So it's just been patrolled.
Yeah.
Card lights. So that's all. I don't think we're part of the barricades, especially if we're only going to be in for 20 minutes. I think we're all right.
Are there any questions of Mike? Mike, let us vote on that during regular business if it's okay, but thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Going back to general comments, other general comments, please, Aaron.
Yeah, as I was going through some of my paperwork, I had noticed that, you know, we've been talking a lot about, new city building, spending money on a trail, things that we absolutely don't need. We know that we don't need those. They're not a must-have. But the one thing that I did notice is we have loans through the Bank of Farmington. So I already figured it out. We got well over $3 million. Now, this is my proposal, and I would like this brought up at the next city council meeting to really consider this. We take 1/3 of that, just take $1 million, put it in a rainy day fund. We use that rainy day fund, and we pay off the loans to the Bank of Farmington. Because the Bank of Farmington pays us 1%. We borrow our own money. We borrow $300,000. They have us paying 3.75% interest. Well, we already have that money sitting in the bank. We take that money out of a rainy day fund, we pay them back, and then instead of you guys turning around and saying, oh, well, we already paid off that loan, no. You guys keep paying them loan payments, but you pay us back. You pay back the city the 3.7% interest. Because I've also noticed, instead of turning around and paying on the principal, we pay an interest payment. I found out that every 6 months, we turn around, we pay an interest payment, another 6 months, we pay an interest payment, and we pay on the principal. So how much money are we actually spending in interest? Now, our loan payment, from what I understand, is supposed to be over in 2028. How much money can we save? How much money can we actually put back in our own pockets for something better that we can actually use? Some of these programs that people are bringing up, better our parks. There's plenty of other good things that we can really do with this money. Now, I know every idea that I come up with is a bad idea. Okay, we already realize that. So somebody else can come up with the same idea and take credit for it, I don't care. But this is common sense. This is smart thinking. We're paying ourselves. This isn't a lose-lose situation. We're paying off our debt. We still got good credit. But at the same time, we're paying back ourselves, so you're not really losing out on anything. It's something that and we have the excess money. We have over 16 months. They said we have the highest level of the community's money, more money than anybody else around us. We got money to turn around. You guys were ready to just drop $111,000 last week. Come on, man. That's not your money, that's our money. But $111,000, that's 1/3 of that $300,000 loan. If you guys got that money to drop on one of his harebrained ideas, come on, let's pay off our debts. Let's do something smart with our money. Because everything that I've heard was spend, 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 and other people have brought it up. How much money do we have to spend? We shouldn't have unlimited money. It shouldn't all come from the Bank of Farmington. We have our own money. Let's pay ourselves. Let's invest it. Because then I think everything will be a little bit wiser. Then we'll have a little bit more caution on how we spend our money. That rainy day fund isn't for some kind of crazy, pipe dream. Oh, well, we would like to have this. Well, we need this. We have to have this. We had a tornado, flood, I don't know, hurricane, whatever. But we need this money. And instead of going to a bank and borrowing it, we're paying ourselves. That's the big thing. And number two is what I'd like also brought up is there's no reason anybody in this town, since we have 2,000, I believe it said 386 people in this town. There's no reason that anybody should have 2 jobs in this town. The mayor, he's the mayor. Why in the world is he the chairman of the economics committee that recommends to you guys to get loans from the Bank of Farmington when he's also the chairman of the board for the Bank of Farmington? There seems like there's a big conflict of interest there for me. Anybody with common sense would say, it all has to do with money and it all leads back to one thing. So I think that anybody that has one position in this town, we have enough people. I know Rollin ain't here, but Rollin, he's the city manager, but he's also the building inspector. Doesn't even know how to read blueprints. You guys got no idea how much I had to go through school to get certified and be able to read blueprints. You know, I mean, that's a quality. Is anybody on our, the building and zoning board, does any of them even know how to read blueprints? You know, if we're gonna pick people for jobs, they gotta be qualified. So if anybody has more than one job, I think we should vote that they shouldn't have more than one job. We got enough people in this town that are probably qualified to do that job. And that's the way it should be, you know? I mean, the mayor gets paid for one thing, why should he get paid for two things? Why should Raleigh get paid for two things? We got enough people, and I'm sure 2,800 and freaking, or 2,386 people, we can, five people, that we can figure it out.
5 minutes.
Oh. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. As to your first point, the city of Farmington has no debt to the Bank of Farmington. But it was, the city of Farmington has no debt to the Bank of Farmington.
You might want to go look it up.
You might want to go back and look it up again. We
I had
paid,
it looked up today.
we paid the loan off some time ago.
I had it looked up today.
Not true.
Go argue with Teresa. She looked it up today. Had to apologize because she thought that it was paid off too.
Yeah.
2028. It's fine.
Anyone
I know
else?
what she told me.
Fine. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Council, you've had a chance to look at the bills presented for payment. Are there any questions on those bills at this time? I would entertain a motion to approve the bills as motion by Joey Boggs, seconded by? Seconded by Dave Rose. Roll call, please.
Boggs,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Rask.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The next item is wire transfers for the month. It shows the funds received for the month and the total of expenses for the month and the account balances. Are there any questions regarding the wire transfer report? Motion to approve by Nate, seconded by Chuck. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The TIF report shows 3 payments made during the month from TIF projects, residential redevelopment projects, with an ending balance of $564,002.68. Are there any questions regarding the TIF report? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And Chief, the police department report, please.
Ordinance work is continuing. Myself and Officer Steck taught a simulator class for the part-time NTU that just got ready to graduate out of the Ellsberg office. And then Officer Steck and Officer Rice, along with officers from Fairview and Avon, met with Sophia Salutes first responders at Bees Drive-In. They had ice cream with her, took some pictures, gave her some police giveaway items. Myself and Officer Steck taught a short crisis intervention class at Courtyard Estates in Canton to the staff at the facility, touching on issues with elderly residents and people they come across while they're working there. And on the 29th, Ken, Officer Steck and Koala were called to assist Fulton County on a traffic stop in Canton. Ken and Koala alerted to the presence of narcotics in their vehicle. We searched the vehicle, came up with 820 grams of meth located inside, which the weight was high because they put it inside a sip and save cup from Circle K. So that makes the whole thing all the way.
Make a motion to approve the police report.
Thank you, Chief. Motion by Joey to approve the report. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Rose. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Under old business, I have a report on the rails to trails, but I saw the agenda for the Hannah City Village Board today online. Thank you to somebody. And I don't know if there are any questions. I can give you an update if you'd like. And I will, since it's on the agenda. We met via Zoom last Thursday with the Village of Hannah City and their attorney. And there seems to be a misinterpretation or a misunderstanding of the appraisal of the property according to appraised value and fair market value, which makes a difference in the application that Hannah City submitted, along with the city of Farmington and the county of Peoria. And that difference amounted to about a difference in the grant amount of $766,000. So once that question was raised, the viability of the trail was questioned. In addition to that, there was some discrepancy as to whether this grant purchase was for an acquisition or a development trail. And according to IDNR, one of those terminologies indicate that it's going to be a finished trail. And if it's not a finished trail, then you've got 3 years to finish it. That was another point of discrepancy that came up during their last meeting that we talked about. So with these two major items, in addition to the fact that as far as I know, they have not received an extension from the rail bank, I think, and according to the agenda item on the Hannah City Trails, I'm not sure, but what this is a dead item, at least at the present time in its present form. It could be reworked and be co-joined with the state of Illinois in some way, or with the congressional district of Peoria, but I think as it stands now, it's just on hold. So, any questions from the council? Thank you very much. We had a presentation from Mike Nelson. We have approved this before with no issue, and I would appreciate it if someone would make a motion now that we're under new business.
So moved.
Thank you very much to approve it again. Second by Chuck. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We also have a presentation tonight from Eric Larson from Illinois American Water. Eric, if you would, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for the chance to come in and speak. If you recall, we closed on the water system in May of 2018, so we're coming up on 4 years of running the water system and investing in it. At that time, we committed to doing about $1 million investment in the system each year for 5 years. We've been outpacing ourselves. We're about at $4.2 million thus far, and we still have projects to do this year. If you got the map that was in the back, copy or two still back there, you'll see in the red what we're projected to do this year. When we looked at the system, and I think this was well known before we took ownership, the north and northwest is kind of water poor when it comes to fires and just general flow, and then also some water quality issues. So you can see that most of the investment since close has been to the north and to the west. The project this year on Northwest Street, so, appropriately named for the work we've been doing, is really killing three birds with one stone. It's gonna help complete a loop of what we've done so far, which will then, to increase fire flows to that section. But there's also been just residual barnacles and other things in that section, complaints of muddy, red water, and this is gonna take care of that as well. So that's gonna be the bulk of the distribution system investment this year. We're still doing some work in the plant. At about midpoint last year, and I didn't share this about the update last year, we were doing a study if it was better use of dollars to run a pipeline from Peoria to Farmington or invest in the RO plant here in town. And the study was pretty definitive that it's better to invest here in town, in the wells here in town, the pumps here in town. So we're continuing to put money in the Farmington plant, drawing Farmington water, or water that's under our feet here. So that's really all I had to share tonight. Any questions before I put these to bed?
Eric, do you have a potential start date for the project this year?
Sweet question, Dave. Potential start date. Pipe has been a big issue. I mean, any supply chain you look at, it's impacted. And pipe's one of them. We're looking at 12 to 16 weeks on the short side of things, depending on what size you need. So I don't see this happening before June, right? July, August start time.
Thank you.
What sort of pipe will you be putting in?
These will be 8-inch. Yeah. You want 8-inch or above? No.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About cleanliness of the water. When is it gonna clean up?
Is that like across town question, or are you talking Northwest Street?
We're over 60 days old.
60 years old. What's the story on?
I live on North Cone.
He's over in that northwest area.
And my
Okay.
water dirty. We're 5 micron filters. So if
Okay,
you know how big a micron is.
Yeah.
Okay. So every 60 days, I put up $10 worth of filters. Plus, I got a dish that needed to be replaced, and the city won't pay anything about it. The people who put the dish in won't do anything about it. American Water Company paid to have the dish raised. I get water in my basement because of people like you. And I get water that looks like that.
I have not heard about the dish.
Well, you're the only person in the state of Illinois that has it,
Okay.
because everybody else has got the kickback.
If you want to address that, Ron, Dave.
And that won't do any good to talk to Ron or Dave, because Dave won't do anything. Dave's been bought and paid for.
Dave,
Well,
you
I
get
have
your-
not been bought and paid for. We have looked
Been
at
bought
several
and paid
times
for.
with
You
several
are,
different
you've been with
engineers
me,
from our
when you come out
studies.
and looked at it, and
Everybody
then when the
says
guy
it's fine.
from Wyoming comes down here, you agree with him. Don't sit there and tell me, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
You're on Cone Street.
Corn. Corn girl. Got a sidewalk that sucks. If I ever step off the side, that'll break the rain. City doesn't care.
Any other questions?
Any questions of
I
the
just wanna
council?
know, is our water ever gonna taste any better? I'm serious, man. I've been buying bottled water in here for the last 12 years. We got the nastiest tasting water ever. I feel sorry I even give it to my dogs, but
I've been buying bottled water for 50 years, don't feel bad.
I'm just asking, it's Peoria water, I'll tell you what. It might taste like chlorine, but it tastes a hell of a lot better than the water out here. And I'm just making my personal opinion. Maybe because I was spoiled, I'm from up in Cook County where we had really good water.
Mr. Larson, I've lived here all my life. Our water is good compared to what it used to be.
I agree with you.
It's not
Okay.
salty.
I was gonna say, I do get reports of some people saying there's improvement. The difference between source water, when you're looking at how deep the wells are here versus San Cody, which Peoria is just lucked out, right, where it is, and how deep you have to go to get the water. But then, what's going into that source water is a big difference. That then moves into how you have to treat it. You know, and we treat differently in Drury than here because there's different elements here.
Well, I know about all the water treatment plants over there, so.
Yeah. So and unfortunately, some of those underlying minerals which are in the water, it's just not gonna change.
But I was just asking because you said that, you know, about pipe, and I get it all about that, and, you know, about the pipelines and stuff, but I just didn't know if you're gonna do anything about the filtration systems or whatever to make it just taste. I'm sorry, man, you know, I just grew up where the water tastes like water, I thought, you know. There was a big difference to me between well water and regular water, and this is definitely like well water to me, so. No offense, I'll just keep buying bottled water, no big deal, man.
Water's everywhere, that's all.
Before you start,
Reverse osmosis completely purifies it, doesn't it take everything out?
it doesn't take everything out. There's a lot of minerals that are
Still
still
in.
present. Yeah.
Sulfur's the head, so. It
I've
is
done
what
it my
it
whole
is.
life, and
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with me.
Well, we used to have brine, right? We used to do salt water. We don't have that anymore.
Before you step away, yeah.
I want to speak on behalf of the fire department and the appreciation of the new hydrants, the 8-inch lines, and our ability to fight fires within the city. So we really appreciate that part of it. We had to set a porta tank up pretty much no matter where we were in the city, and we now have the ability to fight fires as needed, and it's been a tremendous help for that. So I do personally thank you for that.
Speaking of water hydrants, we can take out the ones.
It's across town.
Yeah.
It's gonna take some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing about it, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I can plan it for you.
I also would like to thank you for your tremendous investment in Farmington over the years. I think that's commendable, very commendable. So thank you.
Any others?
I'd just like to know if you're happy that you showed up tonight.
I've got 4 kids. Try putting 4 down in bed at the same time. I'll take this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Dave, do you have a presentation on the new backhoe? I'm sorry.
Actually, I've got 4 presentations, and if it's all right with the council, I'm not gonna do them in the order that we've got, because I've got them in my own order, so if everybody can follow along. First, I'd like to talk about the walking path, which for anybody that doesn't know, that's from Jacobs Park out to the school. We put it in quite a few years ago. It's still in good shape, but there's a lot of major cracks all the way across it. So we have crack sealed in the past, but it still needs attention this year. We never did seal coat it. So my proposal is this year is to crack seal it and then seal coat it. Now, I've got a bid from Hare right here in Trevoli to do that, and they have been the most competitive bid that I've had to do that, because I checked into this last year. So to crack seal it, it's $1,500, and there's about 20 major cracks, but they will do all the little ones and everything for that money. They will actually, the wide ones, they will fill with the pea gravel first and then crack seal them, so that it's just not rubberized material. And then to seal coat it, from the park all the way out to the school, that's a long ways, and it's over 8 foot wide. They do that for $2,800. So I'd like to go forward with this. I spoke with them, they're ready to do it. I asked them to wait till school was out. So if everybody's on board with that, I would like to go ahead and move forward with that.
We have to take care of it.
It needs taken care of.
Or we're gonna lose control of it. So
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
Is that in the form of a motion, Dave?
I would like to do that more.
Motion by Dave Rose to approve both those items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by several people. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Carry. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Next, I'd like to talk about Jacobs Park, and basically the sidewalk that goes around the bathrooms out there. Now, most of you probably haven't been out there, but those sidewalks for the last few years have been moving. They have sank, they have risen, they are cracked, they're a trip hazard, they need attention bad. And again, when I was talking with Hare, he was out there and he gave me a price on redoing the sidewalks around the bathroom. He will take them out and replace them, exactly what's there. He will do that for $6,500, and he'll do it in April before the baseball season starts. So if that's something that you guys would like to move forward with, I'll call tomorrow and they will be ready to jump on it. And I did check our funding. We've got money for all of this. We're plenty of funds to do everything I'm going to discuss tonight. So
And make a motion that we accept their offer to remove and replace the sidewalk at Jacob's Cardinal on the restaurant.
Motion by Joey Boggs, seconded by Chuck. To spend $6,500. $6,500. Roll call, please, Nancy.
Boggs,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Rask.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you, Council Mayor. Third, it's at Jacobs Park again, and this is the second part of around the bathrooms. We have to do the concrete first before we do the blacktop approach from the parking lot to the bathroom. It has been terrible for years, and it is busted up bad. Again, Harris was here, spoke with him about it, he gave me a good price to do the work. Well, basically what we're gonna do, and I think most everybody's pretty much familiar with the approach that I'm talking about from the parking lot to the bathroom. There's a blacktop between the two playground areas. They're going to mill it off, not mill completely out, but just mill it off so that the high spots are gone. They're gonna put a filler coat in, and then we're gonna go with a top coat. Which will give us a very nice area for the bathrooms, for the playground areas, all the way back to the parking lot. Now that will be done in April also, after they get the concrete done. $6,380 to do that. Which is a very good price. It sounds like a little area, but if you're milling, you're putting a leveling coat and then a top coat on, a finish coat, that's not bad. So if you are in favor of that, I'd like to move forward with that.
Any questions from the council regarding that? Is there a motion from the council to proceed with that?
So moved.
Motion by Chuck, seconded by Joey.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, please, Nancy.
Rask,
Yes.
Boggs,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Council. Now, last is the backhoe. One sealed bid. Talked with Caterpillar, talked with John Deere, talked with Case. This is the one bid that I did get. And this is our bid opening, in case anybody's wondering. So it's from Berkey's, it's for a Case 580 SN, standard with machine, so it does meet our specs for width. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details. It comes in at $124,400 minus the $30,000 trade-in. We did add in $9,945 for the knuckle that goes on the end of the backhoe boom. So when we're ditching, it makes life a lot easier than having to move every 10 feet. You can reach a lot farther with your angle.
He's not right, his total on there, excuse me, Mom.
So the total will be 102,500. That's with the four corner strobes and the power tilt protection. We do have money in sewer and a little out of the cemetery to cover all this. It's a pretty good deal. Our old backhoe is not in good shape. It's 7,000 hours on it, and it's currently broke down. So we won't get it back for a week or so. But it'll be 15 weeks before we get this one, so I had to get that one repaired and get it back there. We were very fortunate. I was able to borrow a machine to dig 2 graves in the cemetery last week. Very fortunate, and hopefully get our machine back soon. So if the council's ready to move forward with that, I sure would appreciate it. I'm talking to the council. It's not time for the audience to talk, it's time for the council.
Are there any questions from the council?
Like we put forward a motion to approve the sealed bid for the purchase tobacco.
Motion to approve a bid of 102,500 for the backhoe. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second by Joey Boggs. Roll call, please, Nancy.
Fleming,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Trask,
Yes.
Boggs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Thank
And in
you.
my hurry to get to that, I did skip over the township intergovernmental agreement. I'm sorry about that.
We weren't going to let you forget that.
No, we can't forget that. Last year, we did go over our budget by $2,500. They paid us 13. Our labor and everything came up to about 15.5. Now, there's a clause built into that agreement that they will pay up to $2,000 over what we said. They're gonna honor that. They're gonna vote on it at their next meeting. And the previous meeting, they said, yeah, but they couldn't approve it at that point. It wasn't on their agenda. They're gonna over that. So this past year, we did go over by $500. That's the first time we've gone over. Most of the time we've been under. And the first year we were way under. So I don't feel too bad about it. I know we've got some changes coming up. So we're gonna have to I'll watch the hours much closer this coming year. 2 changes in the agreement with them. One is the start date. I moved it to May 1st, so it's with our fiscal budget. It just makes life a little easier for me when I'm figuring everybody's paying everything, expenses. And the second thing is, I'm gonna move, and they have tentatively agreed on this, moving from 13,000 to 15,000 for the year, which gives us that $2,000 cushion over and above that still. So if everybody's in agreement with that, I will take it to them, and then they can agree or disagree with it, and then go forward from there. But if I can get an agreement from you guys, a motion to agree upon that pending theirs, that would be awesome.
Hey Dave, will that offset the price?
Just wait, okay? Please, I'm sorry. This was the council, but I'm done. I will answer your questions, okay? Yes, sir.
I don't have a question. I was going to ask for a motion from the council.
So moved.
Motion by Joey Boggs to approve a contract with the township for $15,000.
Correct.
Seconded by Chuck. Roll call, please, Nancy.
Boggs,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Trask.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. Aaron, didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
procedures are procedures. What, did you still want to ask them?
Well, the thing was, it's because I know what Kubota is in town, in Peoria and stuff like that, I didn't bring them. And I do know that there's other companies and stuff, but you brought up 3 companies. And I just wanted to know, why are we jumping on the first offer? Because I get it, 2 of them didn't contact you back, but maybe we should have took another 2 weeks and, hey, got on these guys' asses and said, hey, we got an offer for this. This is what we're looking for, because you said it wasn't the right
I
size.
can answer your question. I've already been dealing with them all winter long.
Okay.
They know they couldn't meet the specs. That's why they did not turn it in.
Their width was too wide.
Their width is too wide and their rear tires. So they've been out, and I spoke with them.
No, I get it.
it.
That's why I'm just
I did
asking.
take a shortcut here.
You know, because you said you only had the one bid and stuff, and since I'm out there and I work in this crap, you know, I know that there's other people that have stuff. And once you said that they didn't have the specs that you wanted or that you needed, it just,
Only one, and that's for the cemetery. I cannot pay that water for the cemetery or the painting and big grants. That's why it's so critical.
Did you give any consideration to local companies for the work at Jacob?
No, actually, I was talking to him, just getting him out there to talk about this, and he is local. He got it for both.
Okay.
And that's why I kind of went with them, and quite honestly, I haven't had them on the property doing work. I thought this is a perfect opportunity to bring them in and let they can show us their stuff.
Okay, thank you.
That's my thinking.
one more thing, Dave, is since you're doing all that work out there in Jacobs Park, and I know that I brought this up before, about the lights for that walkway that goes up to the school. You know, I mean,
Different topic for a different day.
well, I'm just saying that that's something that I strongly believe in and stuff, and that I think that we need to come to some kind of compromise. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's compromised, but it's something that we need to look at in the future.
But you know what I'm saying? I think for the safety of the kids, that it'd be good to have lights out there, especially when they're walking home from the dances and everything else.
And we can, but it's not a discussion for tonight.
It's fine.
Will this increase in money that you're getting, will that help a lot with the higher prices of the gasoline
Increase the money that we're
from,
getting.
from the township? This,
Oh, yes, yeah, I've factored that
Okay.
into it.
is that good, you know?
Yeah, lost it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Talking
I,
circles.
and it's always a guess. And from the first time I did it to every year, it's a guess. How many times am I gonna have to be out there? What's gonna come up? It's just like that guess. And we've been pretty good until this last year. So I feel pretty good about only being $500 over. Anybody else?
Thank you, Dave, very much for everything. Thank you. The next item under new business is discussion possible action on a CEDC recommendation. And council, you have that in front of you. There were 3 recommendations made. The first being for a commercial redevelopment grant on the property located at 54 East Fort Street. That's one of our last vacant buildings downtown. And the CEDC approved a $60,000 forgivable loan, forgivable over 6 years at a rate of $10,000 per year, secured with a second mortgage on the property, with an initial grant of $40,000 and then a payment as needed in 2023 and 2024. The second item that the council approved was for an allotment of our residential redevelopment grant that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. Last year, if you remember, we increased it to an allotment of $75,000. And of that allotment, you also see on the printout that we used to date $68,555. This year, again, the CEDC approved an allotment, a recommendation for an allotment of $75,000 again. But in doing so, increased the grant amount from $2,000 maximum to $2,500 maximum to allow for the increased cost of materials in part. The 75-25 is still part of the program, but the increased grant amount from $2,000 to $2,500 is a change from prior years. And the third item that we approved recommended to the council was an allotment of $30,000 for facade grants for fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Are there questions from the council regarding the three recommendations?
I have a question. The first one just probably an update, but the first one said it was a unanimous decision by the council, and that was updated.
Yeah,
and said it was
that's
approved.
correct. At one time, it was unanimous. Then I had to add the third item. I had omitted the third item, which was the allotment for the facade grants. And at the same time, I took out the word unanimous because upon recasting our votes, it was not unanimous. So at one time it was true, but I had time to retype it and resubmit it, so I did. Are there other questions from the council?
I'd like to make a motion that we proceed forward with the recommendation of the CEDC to the city council and the three programs that we mentioned.
Been a motion made to approve the three different items. Is there a second from the council member?
Second.
Seconded by Chuck. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item. The next item,
Just talked after Dave.
pardon? I didn't hear you, Cassandra.
You guys just did a vote on what Dave presented, and then you talked. Do they know what they just voted on? What the beginning part of that was? What that $60,000 forgivable loan is? Have you guys been told how that's being spent? And why that's available to one group? Is that available to all the other businesses that can now apply for it at that level? And why it went from unanimous to not,
And why it went from what?
to a unanimous vote to no longer being a unanimous?
Well, I'll be happy to share that with you. Is that all right? Did I share that, Sarah? It was unanimous at first, and then it became a question of whether or not the applicant was a not-for-profit or a for-profit. And it was determined that there were some members who thought it was a not-for-profit that was making the presentation when it actually was not. But in reality, that makes no difference to the TIF program. A for-profit can apply for a commercial redevelopment grant, and in fact, many have, just like a not-for-profit can. So, but that was the initial reason, I think that the vote was recast.
So all businesses have the opportunity and the same response from the council on a $60,000 forgivable loan. Do they even say what it's being used for? Because everyone else has the opportunity for a $7,500 facade grant. Nothing included inside, nothing included in the back of the building. But this is different than everything else that has ever been offered or even considered when asked.
I would say that every application is different. Every amount is different, and the procedure of every application is different. Every construction is different. And we would certainly consider anything. It's not to say that $60,000 grants are the norm, but the CEDC would consider other grants from other individuals, business owners, yes.
This is a for-profit LLC
It makes
that applies
no,
for it.
it makes no difference. It makes no difference in the fact that it was originally the forming group is a not-for-profit group. But that makes no
The
difference.
current, the one applying for this is
But
for-profit.
I'm saying it makes no difference.
And
well-
haven't they already received a forgivable loan
They have
already?
on a different property. That's correct.
Do you have those totals?
Do I have what total?
As to what they've already received? This is gonna be a total of like $75,000, where most people get $7,500 for the facade only option, not everything else within the building or any part of the, behind the building.
Well, we have also, in effect, given grants to Peterson Healthcare, Home Vet Clinic, several other ones, the old high school. They're all different amounts. Each one is handled on a case-by-case basis. A lot of it is based upon the appraised value of the real estate upon completion of the project. And a lot of the payback is based upon the amount of real estate taxes that they generate, that the particular business generates.
But as far as Peterson's and almost both go, those are businesses that are operating in those buildings continuously. They didn't build it to sell. This group is doing all of this and hopes to sell that building.
That's a possibility, yes. That's a possibility with any building downtown. This was a complete rebuild in itself, from the basement to the first floor to the second floor. All of that had to be replaced, walls.
So the vote you just had, you're gonna allow another business downtown to also receive that.
Correct.
We would be happy to accept an application from anybody.
For what this group is doing.
So what did you approve it to be used for?
For the build out of an abandoned building that had no apparent use and sat empty for 30 years or more. They're turning it into a viable business opportunity for somebody downtown.
So when they sell that building and get their money back out of it, do they repay any of the money back to the city?
Depending upon the time period, yes.
How is that structured?
You're welcome to read the document, Cassandra. I don't know that it needs to be discussed tonight.
I'm gonna say something. I thought I would be able to shut up real quick. The people that are in this may not be legally designated as a 501c3 not-for-profit. But the people that are in this are not gonna make a penny. If we sell that, we will pay off the loan, and if there's any more money, it'll go to the next project. We were involved with 5 buildings down at Melgreens. Because of John Higgs's generosity, we were able to buy those for a pretty good price. When we sold those to 2 different entities, we realized a quote, profit. What we did was we refunded that total amount to those 2 businesses on a prorated basis and made nothing. And that's what we're gonna do on this. In our mind, in my mind, the not-for-profit quote is a philosophy of ours. It's not a legal thing. I never said 501c3. I never meant that. We have never applied, never will, never even thought about it. We have taken 4 buildings downtown
that had we not done them, there would be holes in the south side of our street. They would be demolished. Nobody in that group of 5 has made a penny. In fact, the opposite is true. This year, the LLC had a $25,000 loss. Most of it was depreciation, but if we sell, we have to capture that, so it's not, you know.
I commend you guys for what you've
I
done.
understand.
I'm asking the question.
But this is a
Are-
completely different,
But
no
there should be
one,
more people allowed
no
to
one,
have that
no.
opportunity.
no. Anybody else involved with a TIF application has a business that they are trying to make a profit on. And they will make a profit on it sooner or later.
But that's what you're doing in selling.
We are
buildings.
not making a
You
profit.
may reinvest it, but it is still labeled a profit. What if other people wouldn't do that same? I'm
Okay.
just saying be fair and equal
Oh,
to who you're
yeah.
allowing to do it.
How many businesses in this town that get a TIF grant, do you think are going to make a profit and then give it back to the city? You gotta be kidding me.
I'm saying,
That's
I
a
hope they
stupid
allow other
business
people to
decision.
do the same thing if they're going to allow you guys to do it. There are other people who invested in this town and trying to rehab deteriorated properties. We commend you guys for what you've done. I'm just saying, I hope this is the standard for everyone, not one
This is a
group.
totally unique situation because there are no, quote, business owners in this group that are doing this and then they have their business in the property and that they're making money as a business on the city's dime. Or it's not the city's dime, it's the TIF dime.
I would sum it up by saying the city, I would think, would welcome anybody to come to town and rehab a building like they have done and give them as much help as we possibly could.
I'm rehabbing a
To-
building right now, and it got presented only $7,500 and only for the facade.
Make an application, Cassandra. You're welcome to make an application.
But why is that considered different? If it's profit is profit, you know,
I'm
and
just-
other people
When you
have
sell
done that,
that
and then they
building for
go
a
to
profit,
another
are you
building.
gonna give that profit back to the city? You're gonna keep it if you sell that for a profit. And when you put your business in there, you're gonna make money with that business. So,
You guys are making money with the one you've already done. You have renters in there in your
we're
property.
paying off a loan.
Right,
We
just
got
like
our name,
everyone else
we have
does.
our name on about $400,000 of debt. You want a piece of that?
You don't think I have my name on properties that I've been improving in town? It's the.
Okay, I think that's good
That's
on
fine,
enough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much. The motion's been made and approved. We voted on it.
Yes.
Yes. It's that time of the agenda for the pandemic alert. Pursuant to the authority vested in the office of mayor by the Illinois Municipal Code, section 511-1-6, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency Act, section 330511, and ordinance 2020-06 of the city of Farmington, I, Kent Kowal, mayor of the city of Farmington, do hereby declare that a local state of emergency exists as of this date, April 22, 2020, and shall continue until such time as provided in ordinance 2020-06, and that the nature of the emergency is a nationwide pandemic of the COVID-19 virus. Committee reports, please. David Rose on finance and ordinance.
Nothing to report on finance.
Thank you. Joey Boggs, public safety.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Ken Stufflebeam on sewer. Not here. Nate Fleming on streets and sidewalks,
Nothing to add.
and Dave Rose on parks and recreation.
Dave, there is a light out in the right field of the girls' night. I know the lights are working, but I don't know if that's been reported to you yet or
That light is, excuse me, that light has been out for 4 years. And and everybody's laughing, okay? But we do not change one light bulb because it doesn't create a void in the outfield. And to change that one light bulb is astronomical price because of the height of those and the cost of the bulb. The rule of thumb is once you get the 3 or 4 lights out in your field, that's when you change it. But one light, and I'm not criticizing it all day, I
not.
do
Just
that,
reported to me, and I'm just.
I know
that. So.
but it's just, the cost is so astronomical to do one light bulb that it's just not possible. And it really doesn't change, there's no shady spots out there. But if there was a hazard, 2 or 3 in the same place, on the same right field, then it becomes an issue.
At least we do have lights this year, so we do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Really good positive turnout on both boys and girls sign up, 61 T-ball. I mean, just overwhelming
That's good.
Response to our summer program this year.
Very
So
good.
looking forward to all that. That's all I have.
Very good. Good report. Thank you, Dave. Chuck on public grounds.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Dave, we need to set up, before you leave, we need to set up a meeting sometime later this week with Ken Stuckelbein and Rollin. So don't try to find some free time. That time again for general comments from the audience. Carolyn?
Okay, back to this whole money thing. So we need to let the public know and the businesses downtown that there is a TIP grant money up to $75,000 yet for facade, yet they also can apply for the TIP money, which could be up who knows how much, correct?
That's a good idea, Carolyn. And yes, I have advertised that before when we had the shopper.
Yep.
I, for several weeks, encouraged businesses to take advantage of
Both things. Both of them.
Yeah.
Facade,
any redevelopment opportunity that they had. I went to businesses and asked them. I don't know that anything came out of it.
I don't know.
And now we don't have,
Businesses really know that 2 entities of money could be applied for.
they probably will now, and that's
They
good.
probably will now. How can I know that? But that's the whole thing. There's 2 different funds of money they can get from the city.
It's one fund, but there are different purposes for it. Every purpose is basically different. The facade's pretty straightforward, but we've had a lot of other projects that the city has paid for.
That's right.
They're getting 75,000.
And yes, that's what I'm saying.
And there was also an addition of the rear facade, which is, they've done a lot with the front, and it's recognized now that the rear facade is all just failing. So there's an opportunity now to take advantage of the rear facade.
And that's new?
That's brand new as of this year.
Very good.
Yeah, and what's new with that, new developments, since Dave is aware of that, that will come back before the council with our 2022-23 approval. We'll have to have a new application made up that will specify rear facade,
Up to $7,500, correct?
probably the same amount, yeah. But the other thing is that the existing facade, it turns out, also applies to any business that faces Spring Street. It says in the application it has to face a street. So Spring Street, which is, we consider to be the alley behind the south part, applies right now. It has applied all this time for a facade grant, unbeknownst to us.
So that's
But the
behind
properties on the north side that are on an alley, we hope to make that, this next facade grant inclusive enough so that they also will apply.
So that is or isn't part of the 2022-23 facade?
It will be. It will be. We just don't have the actual document drawn up yet.
Thank you.
Right, you're welcome. Any other questions besides Aaron? Jane?
Is there anything new for the residential tip?
$2,500
So there
instead
are-
of 2,000, yes.
I didn't know if there was something applicable to the one they're getting for a lot more money, or if that was the cap for residential.
That's the cap.
Okay.
We would pay 75% up to 2,500 this year.
If you received it, then it's less money.
$1,000.
If you've received it in prior years, it's still
Prior
limited.
year, so-
Prior years, it's still limited to $1,000.
So, because we applied for it, we got it like 3 years ago, so I can apply again and possibly get,
Up to about,
no, more than that, the regular, correct?
1,000.
once you've had it.
Any years, not the previous.
Any year, any year.
Now, what the city hasn't done yet is to, maybe this is what you're talking about. The city has not approved their $2,500 allotment for payment to residences that are not in the TIP.
No, what I was saying is if I had, got money 3 years ago, so if I applied for it again this year, I would only get $1,000 because.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Aaron?
First, I'm gonna say, I found that very offensive, that I have to put up my hand and you said, is there any other questions other than Aaron? Okay, I'm a taxpayer too. Sit there and smile, laugh about it. Kid, I had a question for you last week. I wanted, they still didn't get him a name tag. What do you want me to do? I'm surely not gonna call him that butthead's name. I asked you a question about how much money we had into that appeal about the dog. Did you find out that?
I didn't get an answer. Also, Mr. Grill said get by marching orders from the mayor and the administrator, not the public. So if they want to give me a task to go find out,
Well,
it's gotta come.
I just freedom of information accurate from you. So that overrides them too. Don't worry about it. Okay, and here's something that I could read you the long drawn out article and stuff, which you already know. It's gonna say blah, 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 that you guys already admit that you know that I'm right about everything. Any which way, I'm just gonna go here. Mr. Knight asked you guys about Farmington nuisance policy, okay? Just to make it short, so I can make, we'll cut this out of here and get out of here. It says Farmington's code provides for citations if someone creates an annoyance, inconvenience, or discomfort, or any offensive noise. Now, I've repeatedly come to here and I've complained about the lights. We already know we're going to court over it, the whole 9 yards. Now, as I've been told, I'm allowed to sign a ticket. I want to sign a ticket tonight against the alms because for a nuisance violation. Because if I haven't made it more than clear that their lights are an annoyance to me, I don't know how much more I can do it. I gotta take you guys to federal court too. But at least if I turn around, I sign a ticket, we go to court, maybe a judge can make them turn the damn lights off. Maybe we can kind of start calming down tempers around here. At least my temper. But this is what your ordinance says. Now, is everybody protected by the ordinances or only some people protected by the ordinances? That's what we need to know. Because if only some people are protected, then I want to know who's protected and who's not. But this is what your ordinance says. You guys wrote this up. You guys agreed to it. Maybe not you guys, maybe 10 years before. But it's all about common sense. These lights are out of hand. I'm tired of it. If I have to go in front of a judge because I signed a ticket and I'm in here and I'm saying, hey, you guys already offered that I could do this. I'm willing. All these people are here as witnesses. I will sign it. I will go to court. But I want a ticket against the alms because of their lights. I am sick and tired of that light shining through my damn bedroom window for the last almost 3 years. You know, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and think it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired of it. So, this is what I would like tonight. Everybody's here as my witness. This is my right, right? Right, Mr. Mayor? Everybody has the right to be protected by the same city ordinances? Or is that not true?
You do what you want to do, Aaron.
No, why don't you tell everybody? Is everybody protected? Because like
That's
this lady turned around and said, you set precedents tonight. That's a legal term. If you want to turn around and sue them because they don't give you $60,000, guess what? You can. Because once you allow somebody to do something, you gotta allow everybody. Just like you allowed the guy to turn around and build 5 feet off the property line. Hey, when I come to you guys, guess what? You gotta allow me to build 5 feet off the property line. Just like to turn around and allow the Alms to turn around and put up shop right there in residential property. I want to turn around and put up the first Farmington, adult sex toy shop right there. You have to let me. You have to let me, otherwise it's another lawsuit. That's all that you're looking at. Once you allow one person to do it, you have to allow everybody to do it.
Aaron, your time is up. Is there anyone in the council that wishes to continue the conversation with Aaron?
I just want the ticket so I can sign it.
If not, I would appreciate a motion for adjournment. Yeah.
Dave Rose, you know, and Dave, on the Jacobs. Have you talked to Dave Jacobs? Look at.
Oh, not this year, but we know.
Telling we're doing this.
We know that, yes, I mean, it's an option, and I appreciate you bringing it up. He kind of likes to do more, put, equipment out there, that's there, that's the way he likes to spend his money. So, but it is an option, and the money's there, so we can use this money here, and then his money to buy more equipment. So, yes, thank you.
Cassandra?
What is the process and the timeline of you guys choosing a replacement councilman?
I volunteered.
Soon.
So did I.
Well, you can have it.
No.
I'd make a better building inspector.
That was a motion to adjourn, Joey?
Motion to adjourn, yes.
Second by
Second.
Chuck. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. Motion.
Yeah, I'm already.
But yeah, I mean, you're right.
Thanks, Nate, very much. Appreciate it.
Well, when you meet him,
Right.
Well, I
Some.
But